You got that new great job opportunity, so you want to leave the company you're working for. The question comes, should I give them a 2 weeks notice? Who am I hurting if I don't? Are you hurting you or the company? We're going to be talking about that today in episode number 59 of the Surging Forward podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Surging Forward broadcast, where we're helping you to have a positive view in a negative world. My name is David Valentine, and I'm here to help you see the value in the job you do and how you can keep surging forward. Well, hello again, and welcome to the Surging Forward podcast. I'm your host, Dave Valentine, and if this is your first time listening, I want to take the time to welcome you to the Surging Forward podcast. This is a show for tradesmen or those in a career that can help you keep a positive view in a negative world. You see, we get bombarded with so much of that negativity that we need something to boost our spirits, because otherwise it wouldn't be any fun to go to work. And we all know that going to work is just a joy anyway. No, we're here to help you make it better. And for those in a leadership position, we'll help you to get to that leadership position and to do a better job. We all struggle with different things in our particular areas, no matter if you're very at the bottom of the ladder, or if you're midway on the ladder, or if you're at the very top. And you know, for those of you at the bottom, I want to just remind you, even the guy at the top has a boss. Well, you might say, well, wow, that guy owns the whole company. Well, they still have a boss. They probably have at least 10 or 12 different bosses a week or more, depending on how many customers they have that are clients that are giving them a hard time or trying to make things a certain way, or, well, hey, maybe they're having good clients all the time. But they always have to be there to answer issues. So we all have people in charge of us. My goodness, even the president has people that are in charge of him. As we can see, he can't do whatever he wants either. So, again, that's what this show's about, is how to create a positive view in the light of a lot of negative that hits us all the time. So I want to thank you if this is your first time listening. Hopefully you'll subscribe. We put this show out every week, and it's geared towards tradesmen. I teach the apprenticeship program, so I hear a lot of the stuff that goes out in the field pretty much on a weekly basis. And I'm also still a consultant and electrical inspector out in the field, so I get to hear a lot of the things of the troubles and the good success stories. We also talk about a lot of the success stories here on the podcast. So if you have a success story, hey, get a hold of us. Let us know. We'd love to interview you. We've interviewed some great people. We just had Ryan Jackson on not too long ago. I've had Mike Jezik on the show. Great guy. He's got his great company going on. And I hear he's been very, very busy, at least in this area lately. And he did a great thing. He helped me get my unit up and all this good stuff. But he's also teaching again now. Also, John Rialis, great guy out there. Very success story. And some of the things he's done. So, got an interview with him coming up of how, a lot of times we invent things out in the field. So, again, a lot of great people that we talk to and I share with. And so if you have a story, drop me a line. Just send me an email to dave@surgingforward.com. Doesn't get much simpler than that. Well, today, I want to talk about something that you hear all the time out in the field. And no matter what career you're in or anything like that, someone gets a better job or they get a better job opportunity. I get asked this question all the time, and my answers are all pretty much the same. So I thought I would share it in one of our episodes here. That's called the 2-week notice. Should I give a 2 weeks notice to a company? And you hear about this, and I'm going to talk about 4 reasons. So you want to stay tuned. I want to talk about 4 reasons why you should always give a 2 weeks notice. But let me talk real quick about some of the downfalls I hear. When I share this, people always ask me, and as soon as I tell them my reasons why you should, right away they start spouting off about, well, I don't think I need to. Our company just laid off, 10 to 15 people, and they didn't give them any kind of notice. Some companies will lay you off with what's called a severance package. A severance package means that, they'll give you anywhere from 1 week to, I've seen it up to 10, 12 weeks or even a couple months worth of pay, depending on how the layoff is or how big of a company you work with. Some companies, they walk in and they give you the papers and they lay you off and, hey, thanks for a great job, but we don't have any more work. I'll never forget one time when I was younger, we were up in Chicago at the time, and I was working for a company. We were working all the overtime and staying busy, just totally swamped. And I had 2 little kids at the time, and right around Thanksgiving holiday, so we knew we were going to have Thanksgiving off, but there was rumors we might have to work, doing a bunch of strip malls, street lighting, and just working late every night and into the dark. And all of a sudden, the guy drove up, and he handed me and about 10 other guys, just a manila envelope, and he drives off. Well, we thought this was like cool, some kind of bonus check or something. Well, what was in there was our last paycheck. I mean, it wasn't a pretty sight. We're all 10 standing there like, wow, this guy didn't even have the gall to say, hey, great job, we're laying you off. So I'm talking to this from a personal standpoint. Yes, it's devastating to get laid off or let go or done. But let me explain something how layoffs work a lot of time for companies. Now, and I'm saying this as I got a little bit older. I mean, at that time, believe it or not, I hated that foreman like there's no tomorrow, and I hope I'd never see him again at that time. Because, golly, at least have the nerve to face me. So, we went out that day, and I learned at that young age to say, hey, I know what I know, and so I can get another job. Now, mind you, I'm up in Chicago in the middle of November in the wintertime. Not a whole lot of work going on up there at that time. So, yes, it was tough. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But, yes, I did find a job. And, no, I did not collect unemployment. I had pretty much major issues with unemployment when they're telling me how I deserve this money and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to be getting another job. So I'll talk about that in another episode about selling yourself. I think we had an episode on that a while back. I'd have to go back and look at the notes, but we're all salesmen. So you can always find a job depending on your quality. And that's why I say we should always be getting training. So I've experienced layoffs firsthand many times. I've also quit my share of jobs. I've up and left. And I've always given a 2 weeks notice. So why would I believe in a 2 weeks notice if companies are just going to burn you like that? Let me explain how it works a lot of times, because I've also been on the other side of the fence as a project manager and also a foreman, and I've had to let people go. You see, the way it works with a company, a lot of times companies will do what they can not to have a layoff. Yes, that is true, guys. For those of you working out in the field, you don't see what's going on inside the office. It's not always the guy making the big bucks and driving the big trucks and they got it made in the shade and, all of this stuff. There's a lot of stress that goes into making sure we have enough work for 6 months to a year down the road. You see, when you're out in the field, you're working in the now. You're working 1 to 2 weeks ahead. Well, maybe you're a couple months ahead if you're on a real big job. But you're in the now. So you see, in the office, they're constantly having to keep work. And it's really, really hard to see if they can hire somebody in because they don't want to be laying off. Because that is not something that's fun to do. For those of you out there that's ever had to lay someone off, my friends, for those of you that's never been laid off or never had to do it, that is one of the hardest things to do. Because you're taking away somebody's bread and butter for their family. So it's not something that, is taken lightly. And usually by the time a company does a layoff, it's gotten so bad that there's just not enough work for the 5 or 200 people that they have. They might only have 5 people working for them, but they had to lay off 2 because they just don't have enough work to sustain that. And so they actually go down the list, and it's not always, sometimes it's, it's not the highest paid guy all the time. Sometimes it's just the guy that, is not, with the best qualifications or the best stuff going on, or, he's not as, up to speed as everybody else. So that's where it comes into play sometimes. So it's not always personal. It's mostly always business. So that's kind of what happens behind the scenes. So it's not like they don't like you or they hate you or they're just trying to screw you over. So that's just a little bit of what happens on the company side. So 4 reasons why you should always give a 2 weeks notice. All right. Number 1, it shows that you have integrity. All right. Whether you think a company treats you bad or not. And if you're working for a company right now, my friends, that is constantly treating you bad, let me give you a little advice. Number 1, go out there and be the best tradesman you can be, or be the best person in the stock room that you can be, or the best person working in retail that you can be. There's plenty of other work out there, especially right now going today. And so if you can prove you know what you know, you're not going to have a problem finding a job. So even if the company does have a bad reputation for that, number 1, really, you don't want to be working for them in the first place. You need to find another job. But if you choose to stay there, you don't want to bring yourself down to that level. You want to make sure that you show your integrity. And when you find that better job, the other company's going to see that also, that you have that integrity. If you're working for somebody right now, for example, if you're working for me, or you get a new job with me, let me turn it around that way, and I just chose to hire you, and I ask where you're working at, and I say, okay, when can you start? And you tell me, well, the company I'm working for really sucks, and I can start tomorrow. Well, guess what, guys? I'm going to have a hesitation on even hiring you, because all of a sudden I'm going to be thinking, wow, he's going to burn me tomorrow too, because he's just going to walk off and leave me. So it's your integrity. You want to make sure you maintain your integrity. Now, granted, you'll hear me say this a couple times. You may give your 2 weeks notice and the company may let you go that day or let you go the next day. Well, that's great. You can call the person back up and say, hey, I can start now because the company went ahead and let me go. 9 times out of 10, that company's going to say, okay, sure, come on in. So number 1, it shows that you have integrity. And I'm going to go from, I got 4 of these, so we're going to try to cover that. But that's one of the biggest ones. Your integrity is all you have in this field. Your reputation and integrity is one of the most important things that carry with you no matter where you go in this trade. All right? The second thing that it does, it shows that you have values and you believe in the quality of your job. Not just, you want to make sure that that you value what you're doing. So it shows, even to your other employer that, hey, I stand for something here. And I have to make sure that my job that I'm completing is, up to par. So that's going to show your new employer also the same thing, that you take the quality of your job very seriously. So again, second one, it shows that you're one that values the quality of your job. The second thing is, there's nothing wrong with moving forward. And as we call it here, surging forward. You always want to make sure that tasks at hand are all completed, though, and that they're properly handed over for your replacement. So, find out who's replacing your job. A lot of companies will keep you for that full 2 weeks when you're on a big job just to make sure that you properly hand them over. Don't try to screw a company over. There's nothing like the bitterness and the anger. I've seen this on a job. We had a real big job going on. And the foreman of the job, I was actually, the inspector on the job, and we were there, just happened not too long ago. And the guy got totally aggravated at his company because they weren't backing him. We got another job out there in another state. And so he figured, since he's leaving the other state, he'll just screw him over. He took all the as-built, all the submittals, all the prints, and just thought he was going to screw over the company. Well, guys, you're not screwing over the company. You're actually screwing over the other guy that has to come in and clean up that mess. And so the company's not the one that gets the bad reputation. The guy that comes in, he knows your name too. And he's going to remember that you left him holding the bag on a bad job. So, again, there's nothing wrong with surging forward. There's nothing wrong with getting a better job. But don't leave all the crap just because you're angry. Because, again, you're not messing with the company. The company will survive. But what you're messing with is the guy that has to go in there and fix the mess, who's trying to do a good job himself. So actually you're screwing over one of your fellow brothers or sisters in the trades. So if you think of it like that, you know, we're all together in the trades. It's not a company thing. Okay? Now, going with that, number 4, going into number 4, you don't want to burn bridges. You see, it's all about networking. You never know when you're going to be working with that company again. You don't know the roads that you're going to travel down. One of our episodes, that fork in the road, you make certain decisions throughout your life. Well, if you get to a point where you have burned a bridge and just totally burned some people in that company, and you just walked off of the job and got another job, well, guess what? People are going to remember your name, but they're going to remember it in a negative point. And nobody wants that. You should never have anything negative on your reputation. That is not a good thing to have. You see what's going to happen? 5, 6, 10, 15 years down the road, all of a sudden your paths are going to cross paths again with somebody from that company, or even that company where you have an opportunity to sub with them or work with them on a job. Well, guess what? Somebody's going to remember what you did. Somebody's going to remember that you stole those prints and just threw them away. Somebody's going to remember that you gave no 2 weeks notice. You just didn't show up for work anymore. You just said, forget it. Like the old song goes, take this job and shove it. Well, let me tell you, my friends, before you sing that song, you better make sure you are 100% positive that way back in your head, there is no possible way that I will ever have anything to do with that job again, or that company, or that person, wherever the case may be. So you don't want to burn bridges. Because again, it goes back to the first thing I talked about, your integrity. So all these things kind of come together there, and that's why you want to always give a 2 weeks notice. I don't care how bad the situation you're in. I don't care how bad the company is. I don't care what the opportunity is. I don't care, if the person tells you you're getting ready to hire for this job, you're gone for an interview, you're gone for your little undercover interview without letting anybody know. That person you're going for the interview knows that you're working. And I don't care how much he says, I need to have you here tomorrow. You need to hold your ground and say, hey, with all due respect, with honor and integrity, I would never do it to you. So I would like to be able to give at least 2 weeks notice. Now, if they can let me go earlier, I will be more than happy to work for you tomorrow. But I need to at least give them the benefit of the doubt. And if you do that, no matter how bad the company is that you're leaving, it will show integrity. You see, integrity rises above and over all the negativity. And I'm not saying that just to say that. I have done that in the past. I've left companies. I've left companies out of anger. I have a company that I left years ago that I will never go back and work for again. Okay? But I have a lot of friends at that company. I still know a lot of people over there. But because of some of the reasons I left, I still gave my 2 weeks notice. And I was there for a little over a week. And then they finally said I can move on. I said, not a problem. So, again, it's the proper thing to do. And it maintains your integrity. And that is the biggest thing you can maintain in this field. Because we all make choices. And nobody can take away your integrity from you. But I'm here to tell you, my friends, you can willfully give it away over and over again. And once you give your integrity away, you can never get it back. You don't get second chances when you create a negative atmosphere. So keep it positive, my friends, and always make sure, 2 weeks notices are very important to give. So again, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I hope this is something that you can carry with you throughout the months or the weeks. And if you think about it, share this podcast with a friend. We have multiple ways of listening to podcasts. I did a YouTube on there to show you how to listen to podcasts. First of all, it's very easy to subscribe on iTunes or whatever podcast you have, whether you're using Stitcher or Podcast Addict or any of those types. Android has a ton of different ones here. Show a friend how to listen to this on your drive home, on your way home listening, or on your free time relaxing, or even on the job site, Sometimes it can, teaching is something that can happen all of the time for you. And also, too, check us out on Facebook. We're on the roll. I'm looking at getting about 500 likes on Facebook. I was so excited when we hit the 200 mark. And I shared that in one of the past episodes. I thought that was pretty cool. Like I said, I am not real big with, social media and different things like that, even though I did a podcast episode on that also. But we're starting to get into it a bit. And it gets the word out. We're a lot of people listening in California area. I want to thank you to the California brothers and sisters, and a lot of the brothers and sisters listening in Texas. And they just went through some of that rough time with the hurricane, and I'm hoping all of them are okay. And Florida just went through a lot of that, and so we have some people listening down there, and West Virginia, and we're looking at getting it all 50 states too. So as we're spreading the word, that's what's exciting. The Surging Forward podcast, we're here to help you in your leadership views. So also check us out on our website. If you want to start your own business, we have courses on there now for those who want to go into business for yourself as a contractor. All you have to do is simply go to the website at www.surgingforward.com, and you'll see a map there, and just simply click on your state. And you'll see courses that are there for your state, for your continuing education courses, and also the courses that are needed for your contractor's license, and different things like that for your state. And, more courses are being added all the time as we work on them and get some more up there. So we also, any kind of courses you're interested in. I haven't forgotten, one of the guys asked me if I could do a course on estimating. So we're working on that course right now, and hopefully that's going to be up soon. But we're always trying to get the message out to help you do better and get to a leadership position and keep surging forward in the trade. So again, my friends, stay safe and keep surging forward. God bless. You all have a great week. Bye-bye.